The Death Star was one of the Empire's greatest military achievements, managing to strike fear into the hearts of people throughout the galaxy and threatening to destroy the rebellion once and for all. So how did Palpatine react to the shocking news that the Death Star was destroyed? Before we get into that, remember to hit the subscribe button and like the video for more Star Wars lore content just like this. In canon, Emperor Palpatine was initially extremely disappointed upon hearing the news that his Death Star had been destroyed. He feared for the future of his empire, wondering how a small group of rebels could destroy a space station the size of a planet. With his largest tool of fear and threat gone, he worried that he would not be able to control all of the planets within his empire. Most of the imperial governors that had replaced the senators were corrupt, greedy, and only cared about gaining power for themselves. Palpatine's disappointment turned to extreme anger and rage as he learned that Vader allowed the Death Star to be destroyed under his command. He told Vader that the destruction of the superweapon was a monumental setback to his plans and that it would not go unpunished. This marked the beginning of the Emperor's diminishing faith in his apprentice, letting Vader know that he had been losing strength and getting weaker since his battle on Mustafar. With Palpatine having to save Vader from the lava on Mustafar and now the complete failure of the Death Star, Palpatine was beginning to doubt Vader's ability in the Force. Palpatine taunted Vader and derided him for allowing the disaster to take place. He also later demoted Vader because of the incident, intending to replace him with an army of cyborg warriors, similar to General Grievous. Vader remained Sith apprentice to Palpatine and enforcer for Imperial affairs, but lost his control of military matters, including commanding troops. Palpatine replaced Vader's military duties with that of Cassio Tage, one of the only survivors of the Death Star explosion and one of the only ones to speak up about its design flaws. Tage had severe doubts about the Death Star prior to the explosion, leading him to leave the station before its destruction. Because of his excellent foresight and caution towards the Death Star's shortcomings, Palpatine promoted Tage to Vader's former military position. This placed Vader under the direct command of Tage, greatly angering him. Tage's first mission in command came directly from the Emperor, with the goal of strengthening the Empire's grip on the Outer Rim and ensuring that rebel groups do not form there. As many Imperial supply and transport ships were coming under attack, the Emperor was forced to put his foot down and exert his power. While the Imperial Navy was taking back control of the Outer Rim, plans for the second Death Star's construction were secretly underway. As for Legends, Palpatine's initial reaction was very similar. He was initially very disappointed, but quickly turned to a furious rage as he learned that Vader allowed a small group of rebels to destroy his prized superweapon. Upon summoning Vader to his palace, he drew his lightsaber and sliced off one of Vader's prosthetic arms. He demoted Vader, but surprisingly placed him in charge of the construction of the second Death Star. On top of this, the Emperor also sent Vader to do tedious and menial missions as a form of punishment for his failure. This increased the already huge amount of suffering that Vader was experiencing. In Legends, instead of the architect of the Death Star being Galen Erso, it was Bevel Lemelis. Palpatine was furious at the horrific failure of the designs of the Death Star and the fact that the rebels were able to get a hold of them. Lemelis was placed in a steel cage, tortured by unleashing various creatures including piranha beetles into the cage. The Emperor was unable to kill Lemelis because of his incredible engineering skill and the knowledge of other Imperial superweapons. Because of this, Palpatine allowed the piranha beetles to kill Lemelis, but had his body and mind cloned so that he could continue to work. Initially, Lemelis was very grateful for being brought back to life by the Emperor and agreed to begin working under Vader on the second Death Star. Unknown to him, the Emperor still had a huge hatred for him because of his first failure. This led to the Emperor killing Lemelis a further 6 times, each time bringing him back as a clone. He hoped that the fear of constant pain and suffering would make Lemelis work harder and faster on the second Death Star and not miss another fatal flaw in the plans. That was the story of how Palpatine reacted to the destruction of the Death Star and killed his lead scientist 6 times for his failure. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, hit that subscribe button and write a comment down below telling me how you would react to being killed 6 times. So, see you next time for more awesome Star Wars content.